Spade back here with you, High Noon Leatherworks, for another leather adventure. And today we're going to conclude the three-part series on the horizontal USA leather holster. And that again is for the Kel-Tec P17. That's a 22 long rifle semi-automatic. And on the last episode, we finished up the acrylic painting of the flag, and off camera, before we came on, I put the hold down strap and a snap on there because I want to make sure that it's not going to slide out of there in any way. So got the hold down strap, the snap, the closure. We're going to stitch this thing up, see how it fits, and conclude this series. So let's see what the finished product's going to turn out to be. I'm really excited, so come on in and let's get started. Alright, I've got the acrylic painted piece. It's got 3 coats of the silicone spray on it. If you take a look at the last video, I went ahead and put a closure and a strap on here, and what I did was I just kind of dry fit the whole thing how it was going to be once it was stitched, and that way I knew where to put my snap. I can always make this shorter if I need to, and I may want to make that a little shorter, or we may end up being just about perfect depending on where that slides in there. So let's set that aside. Next thing I'm ready to do is go ahead and take a look at my stitching groove lines that I put in here. I'm going to just take a 4-prong stitching punch, and I'm going to start here on the top piece, just lightly mark that. Then I want to look underneath, make sure my grooves are exactly the same, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an awl and I'm going to go all the way through both pieces here. In my first hole, so I can see exactly where that first hole starts. So then what I can do, and here's where I went all the way through into my back piece. So now I can remove that and I'll know exactly where to start my 4-prong punch. And I'm using my poly backing board, cutting board, and I'm just going to go through and put my stitching punch holes down through this side first, since that's the one I marked first. And I'm just following that stitching groove that I put in there way back before we even dyed this holster. So I'm going to stop there, go back to this piece that I marked. Now I'll go ahead and punch all the way through it. Follow that stitching groove. And obviously I'll be stitching these 2 pieces, or actually 3 pieces, together, because it'll be this front piece onto the second piece, and then the backer that the belt goes through. So all 3 pieces are going to have to be stitched together. So I'm going to do the first 2 here so I can line up the 3rd piece. So now I'm just going to move the bottom up, slide it up to line up with this piece, and I'm going to do the same exact thing I just did on the other end. So I'll go ahead and make my first punch, not real hard, just to make a mark. I'll take my awl and go through both pieces. You can see where I've got my mark here and my mark here. Then I can go ahead and do the exact same thing on this side that I did on the top. So I'll go ahead and run down the bottom of this grooving line. I get to the end there, and then I'll turn around, pull this back, and do the exact same thing that I did on the top of this piece. So I'll run down, and again I'm using a 4-prong punch. I'll just work my way down that groove line. And there's all my stitching holes on those two pieces. Now, I'll go ahead and take the back, match it up with the second piece because they're the exact same size, made them off the exact same pattern. And what I'll do is I'll take my awl in that corner and then turn it over, and there's my starting hole. And then I'll take my single stitching punch and I'm going to put that all the way through both pieces, and that's going to hold that still and together while I take my awl and do the bottom where it starts. And there's, get the light on it, there's the hole. You can see it's right at the beginning of my groove line. So I always, when I put my groove lines in there, I'm watching real close to make sure I start at the exact same distance away. That helps when I go to put my stitching holes in it. It helps those match up. So I'll do the same thing that I did to the other side, or the other pieces. So I'm following that groove line. It makes it real easy to use a bigger punch. Alright, that's the top. I'll move down to the first hole that I put through, and I'll do the exact same thing. Straighten up my punch here. These punches that I have for stitching are not the best in the world. They're inexpensive, and if you're not careful, you'll bend a tooth on one, so you got to keep an eye on it. And I'm sure when I bend the tooth it's my fault, but sometimes I get going too fast. I pull it out at a weird angle, and I'll bend a tooth. But they bend back just as easy as they bend while you're using them. So, alright. So there's all the holes on the top and the bottom of that piece. So now we've got the top and the bottom piece. The belt goes through here. Then we've got the very top piece of the holster that's going to hold the pistol. So let's kind of throw that together here real quick, give you an idea what that's going to look like. There's the horizontal shot of it, if I can get it in the center of the camera. And then here's the snap or the hold down, and it's going to be just about right, looks like. So pop that loose, slide that out from the lower back. So I'm going to go ahead and use a hand saddle stitch on this using synthetic waxed sinew. Going to use black. So I'll do that off camera, and then I'll bring you back. Alright, so I've got the stitching done, and again I stitched saddle stitch by hand all the way down through 2 layers here, 3 layers on the top, 3 layers here on the bottom, and the 2 layers here. So the stitching's finished. Let's see how the snap and the pistol fits in there. And again, I did not wet form this. It doesn't mean I might not, but right now I'm not planning on wet forming it. I might do a little bit to it just to flatten this top part out, but that's it. And that may naturally flatten out. But there's what it looks like. Again, it fits horizontally. Here's a belt. I'll show you how I planned for that to go in there, and that goes between the front and the back full size pieces. So let's go ahead and pop this back out. And I have not had a belt ran through here yet, but there should be plenty of room. There we go. So there's how the belt fits in the back. And then the pistol goes in. Let me get the strap. The pistol goes in like so. And then we've got our hold down snap. So it'll look like that. And then the only other thing I'm going to do, I've got the silicone spray protector on there. And that kind of helped let that acrylic lay flat. But I am going to also put some of this Vibings leather sheen on top of that, because I want it to be shiny also. That spray silicone still dries kind of flat, so I'll put some of this Vibings sheen leather sheen on here. And again, I'm not super concerned about, I'm more worried about trying to get more of a shine on it than anything, because I know it's protected because I sprayed with that silicone protectant, and it had 3 coats of that on. It's not going to hurt to put this on top of that. Alright, so let's take that, take my microfiber, dry microfiber cloth, and puff it up and give it a nice little light buff. I'm not pressing hard at all. I'm just lightly buffing it. And let's put that back in. See how it looks with that shine. So it's got a nice sheen on it now. So there's the completed horizontal USA Kel-Tec P17 holster. Alright, so we finally got this project completed. Again, I apologize that it took 3 parts. I expected it to take 2, and that's what happens sometimes. So I appreciate the comments from the last video. Leave a comment down below what you think, how it turned out. Give you an idea how that goes in the small of the back. If I can. So that obviously it can go under my shirt, but just so you can see it. So it fits real nice and flat back there. That's what I like about this idea, is that I always have a uncomfortable, especially traveling in a vehicle, wearing a vertical holster. So I wanted to try this, let it sit in the small of my back up here in this flatter area, and especially if you have a jacket on, you're not going to see anything at all. So there's the finished product. It feels nice. I think it looks pretty good. There's the back side. And again, I did not wet form that, but that doesn't mean you couldn't. You could do whatever you wanted to with it. So, hope you enjoyed it. I like the way it turned out. Just another neat project that I've got to do. So, thanks for coming along. Thanks for viewing my videos. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button. Share them with people you know. I would appreciate that. And like I always say, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.